Welcome back, you lovely lot. It's a Saturday. Welcome to a Saturday afternoon dig. Yeah, window of opportunity opened up in the Reed household, and we decided, why not? Let's get down here, back onto the permission and have a dig. It is a limited period of time. It's only a small window. We've got about 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours of daylight left, and then I'll need to get back. But we're back on the permission, and what a week we've had. I never expected to be out today, I've got to tell you. We've had everything this week. We've had snow. We've had blizzards, we've had rain, we've had it all, and it has been torrential. So wasn't expecting to get out today, but thank God we've got blue skies and white clouds. So we've got 3 hours. We're back on one of my fields where I found the vesica seal a couple of months ago. It's quite a quiet field, but we're with the MANTICORE. We've got a slightly enhanced program, which I'll tell you all about later on, and we're going to get cracking. So I'll see you in a bit. Right, it's taken a while, but we're on to a decent signal. 85, 87. So we're going to dig that, but before we do, let's just quickly show you what we're doing on the MANTICORE today. So we're on all-terrain general, so we've stayed on there, but there is a bit of a play on this, which is a YouTuber who I can't recall his name now, but it was recommended to me by Fat Chris, not Bold Chris, Fat Chris, at the recent East of England rallies. He found some nice bits with his on that programme, and it's supposed to be a little bit quieter and a little bit better at sniffing out the signals. So in terms of what we've got, as I said, we're all on all-terrain general. I've already noise cancelled and it stayed at 0. Ground balance at 34. Recovery speed 5. Nothing done with a discrimination pattern, but what we have done, as you can see, is we have changed to a custom 1 in terms of the ferrous limits. So it's slightly different in terms of what it greys out and what it doesn't, which I'll come back to in a second. Nothing changed on the ferrous tones. And we're on 5 regional tones again, but he also recommends a bit more of a smoother path through the tones, which I've changed as well. So he knows a damn sight more than me. So if you're interested in having a look at this one, it's called the Freestyle program, and I'll put a link to that particular video in today's description. But yeah, that's essentially what we've got. And as you can see from the 2D screen there, look, different areas have grayed out the normal on the standard program, and we'll see how we get on. So let's dig this bad boy. There we go. It's not deep. It's definitely not deep. But nothing tends to be on this particular field, as many of mine are. It's very, very stony. But we like them in the 80s. Let's see if we can find what we got. Nothing jumping off the page. 84 still. Very first decent target. It's the second target of the day. I had a shotty for my first one. Yeah, I kind of thought it would be. Oh no, it isn't what I thought it would be. I was about to call CAC, but it's not. It's a toy car. Excellent, let's have a quick look at it. That's not CAC, is it? It's a toy car. I don't know if you can see that. I think it says Ford Fairlane police car. Made in England, I think that is. Yeah, made in England. So a Ford Fairlane, I don't know what that is. Never heard of it, but I suspect that's a car back from the 50s and 60s. I don't know when this was made though, but it's a toy car. It's going to have a bit of blue on it. The steering wheel's still in situ, as are the bench seats, rather snazzy bench seats. Yeah, we don't mind that for a first decent find, do we? Cool, we're off and running. See you in a bit. Next one. In the early 20s. Doesn't sound very nice, but of course I'm not used to the slightly different tones yet. If I was a betting man, I'd say that was a shotty, but based on that tone. But we'll see. Let's give it a dig. Out there. Oh, this bit. I'm off the pasture. I will go back onto the pasture, but I'm just kind of wandering through this kind of barren bit at the moment, just as it's softer to dig than the actual pasture bit, because that's quite compacted. So I thought I'd start here. Miss it slightly. Shush. So our 20s is Oh, I called shotty, but it's definitely... Oh, nice. Oh, I found a few of these on here now. Yeah, right. I don't know what this is. Very, very earlier videos of mine, I found a couple of these. They're little... if you can see that, I'll get a zoom camera out in a second, but they're little fixings of some description, and they're like 4 crosses. In fact, let's get the zoom camera now. I'll give it a clean, and I'll show you in a sec. So hopefully you'll see what I mean. 4 little square crosses. So they're kind of religious looking, but they're quite thin, and they were fixed to something. Now, were they furniture fixings? Some people have said there's something to do with books. I don't know, but it's very cool, and I think that's the 3rd one of them I've found. That's a bit bigger than the other ones I found, so yeah, pretty cool. If you've got any idea what it might be, it's an artefact of some description, do let me know. See you in a bit. Well, so far, I'm enjoying this programme because it is definitely a bit more steadier than the one I was using, he says. Right, next one, 52, 53... 54, and yeah, this program feels a bit stabler. Let's have a look. Bit of lead. Moving on. Well, that's quite encouraging, because this little tiny little bit of green pin, or whatever it is, I think it's actually a pin off a buckle. Very green. That is tiny, and that was a good 6-7 inches down. And it's sung out really well on the MANTICORE. So yeah, cool. Thought I'd show you that one. That's pretty impressive so far. Let's crack on. Right, next one is in the 60s. 62, 64, bit of 63. Got to be worth a dig. Still getting used to the newish tones. But yeah, much quieter. Feels much more stable in this new program. Still there, take a little bit more. Ooh. Still there, right. What do we got? And we're there. Come on, baby. Be something nice. You're not something nice, are you? Bit of green. Never mind. Next one. Very sketchy 50s. That's why I didn't bother filming it. And it's a little button. It's quite an old button though, which we don't mind. It's got a Tudor feel to it, but I don't think it is. But yeah, okay. We're still mooching around. And yeah, and it's proving to be quite a good little program so far. It's keeping quiet, and when you go over something, you know about it, which is what you want, isn't it? Right, next one is a 3940, and it's quite a small blob on the target line. It's about there, so we'll see what we got. Right, let's have a look. That's deep. Oh, what are you? We got a coin. Excellent. Let's have a look. Well, it's got some nibbles out of it. Oh, so it's Victoria. It is, isn't it? Or is it not? Well, there she is, Victoria. But she's got something on her head, like a wreath on her head, which I'm not used to seeing. That's what's throwing me. So that must be some sort of, to represent something, some particular era. And it looks like it's 1890 something, which obviously would be right at the end of, it's a farthing by the way, which would be right at the end of her reign. So that's why it's thrown me a bit, having that particular bust on it. So it's probably a very good reason for it, and you probably know it already. But yeah, it's a little farthing. It's seen better days, but it might clean up quite well actually. It's quite dark greyish. It's not silver, don't think. Cool. Oh, we'll take that. We're on the coins. See you in a bit. We've got another one in the 30s and 40s. Don't sound very nice though, but we'll dig it. Well, it's about there, but it's not a convincing tone, but that's not to say it's not anything good. Yeah, that doesn't come out very well, does it? Right, let's have a look. What are you? Ah, you're a big button. Oh, that's all right. It's a pewter button. Glad I dug it, but just a button. Oh, right, it's getting cold now, and the sun's starting to go down, so I reckon we got about an hour. So, got to be the best tone of the day. 76, 77 by a mile. The nicest tone, which probably means I've put the kiss of death on it, but let's find out together, shall we? Also, a massive thank you. Had a couple more sponsorships since you last seen me for my ultra marathon. That Mark Gilroy. Mark, you're an absolute legend. Now, Mark is not a metal detectorist. He has a great channel that's all about tech and psychology. He also has a Tesla, like I do. And he puts out some amazing videos, all about techie stuff. So if you like your gadgets and those types of things, head over to Mark. And of course, to the wonderful Lee from Artiseal, which is a product a lot of you know by now. The kind of preservation stuff that you can paint on your finds and bring it back to its former glory, so to speak. Yeah, massive thanks Lee, massive thanks Mark for your sponsorship, really do appreciate it. Right, I'm waffling, come on Marcus. It's you, is it? Oh my gosh. What a great signal for a piece of cack. Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? It doesn't sound quite so nice now, but still a 77, yeah. Ah well, I don't think it's anything. I'll give it a clean. If there is, I'll let you know. Yikes. Well, we've turned for home now, and we've just got one practically on the surface. There you go, 72, 74. And just got it out with it, literally with the dig. I didn't need the shovel at all, and that's come out. So that looks like a coin to me. So I thought, well, might as well look at it together. Yeah, that's a coin. Interesting. Cool. All right. Well, let's give it a squirt. Come back to you in a sec. Yeah. Toast. I think we'll get some pink stuff off it back at the ranch, or on it, I should say, back at the ranch. But yeah, not looking great. Oh well, it's a coin note. That's two. So we can find a few more. See you in a bit. Next one was another sketchy one in the 60s. And it was deep. That's about 8 inches down. And it's another one of my little naval buttons. Yeah, nice. It's an anchor with a bit of rope. And no, don't think it's got the shank. But yeah, pretty little button. We never mind them. Nice and green as always. Cool. All right, see if we can get a couple more. That's it. 3 hours 15 minutes in with the new Manticore Freestyle program. Massive thank you to the chap who put the video out there. I'll put his name rolling along the screen now, but I'll also put a link to that video in the description. So if you'd like to go over and have a look at the Freestyle program and how you set it up, go for it. In terms of my initial opinions, well, we're only 3 hours 15 minutes in, but it already feels quieter, a bit more stable, definitely less chirpy, and the signals jump out a little bit better than they did on the kind of standard all-terrain general with no tweaks. Does take a little bit of time if you're not used to it to set it up. So I watched the video 2 or 3 times, had to pause it a few times, but ultimately managed to set it up pretty easily. Yeah, and I think it's definitely got potential, so I shall definitely stick with it for a few more videos and see how we get on. But yeah, so far so good. We didn't find a huge amount, but then again, we never really did. It's quite a quiet field, which is one of the reasons I came over here. And the really great news about this program is I was able to ramp the sensitivity up a bit more and not have the machine fall off the rails with the chirpiness. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with the finds. We found a couple of coins and a few other bits and bobs. I'm going to swing back towards the cast. We might get a couple of bonus features. If not, thanks so much. Stick around to the roundup and we'll see you soon. Hi folks, welcome to the roundup. Got my specs on today in work mode. Unconventional roundup this time simply because I wanted to kind of summarise my feelings on the Freestyle Manticore program that I tried for the first time with this dig. Only about 3 and a bit hours that I used it for, but I wanted to kind of tell a little bit more about how I got on with that, obviously for Manticore users and for prospective Manticore users. We will show you the finds. We did find a few bits, and I'll move over so they come up nicely on the screen. We found the Matchbox number 55 Ford Fairlane police car. I was right, my gut feeling was it was a 50s or 60s car. It absolutely was. And of course the Matchbox issue of that car would have come out probably in the 70s or 80s, I don't know. It's a nice little police car, all 4 wheels still intact. Never mind finding something like that, very funny, very cool. We found a couple of crusty coins. A Georgian halfpenny of no visual ID, and a little Vicky farthing from the 1890s, so towards the end of her reign. We found a little naval button and a little potentially Tudor button, and then we also found that really interesting 4 crosses piece. So some sort of, I think it's some sort of horse mount or some sort of attachment for something. So it is artifacting. If you can remember what it is, save me looking back on my videos, do put a comment in today's one. So yeah, that was pretty much it. So there were about 20 or so targets that I dug in those 3 hours. It's a quiet field, and the reason I went back to that field, which is why I neglected to actually say at the start of the video, is because that's the very first field that I went on with the Manticore when I first took it out of the box. And that's when I had a real bit of a nightmare actually. It was really, really loud, really, really chattery, and actually really unstable. And I had a bit of a bad time, and it kind of scared me before I even started my journey with it, if I'm honest. So I wanted to take it back to that particular field because that was where I had that first experience with the Freestyle program to see how it compared. And I'm pleased to say it was brilliant. By comparison, it was absolutely brilliant. It was much more quieter, much more stable. And more importantly, I was able to ramp up the sensitivity to kind of 24, 25 and not have it fall off the rails like it did previously when I went on there. In fact, if I'd just gone over to kind of 22 or 23 previously, I couldn't have used it. I literally couldn't hear yourself think with all the chatter. So yeah, it was much quieter, much more stable. You could get the better sensitivity out of it. And you know, when you went over a find, you knew it was there, just like I do on the DS2, nice and quiet. And then when you go over something, bing, bing, you know it's there. Good, bad, or indifferent. So yeah, in summary, a pretty impressive program so far. Massive thank you to the chap who I now remember is Neil Jones. That's his channel. I'll put a link in today's description of that video with the Freestyle program. As I've said, give it a couple of watches and then do it yourself. And if you get it wrong, you can simply reset it and start again. So that's absolutely fine. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But so far, so good. Really impressed with that Freestyle program. Really enjoyed it. And obviously, if it's something that you want to give it a go and see how you get on with it yourselves. So massive thanks to Neil and, of course, to Chris, who told me about it at the East of England dig. Couple of other shout outs. Massive thank you to Waspius Maximus. That's Wasp and Helen, long-time supporter of my channel, who kindly donated to the Ultramarathon cause this week. Massive thanks, guys. Really do appreciate it. And also to Panther City Outdoors, the lovely Keith. Lovely guy over from America. I met up with him a few days ago. We had a good hour or two together. I showed him some of our UK finds. He's out there digging some as we speak. Hope you got on well, Keith, and massive thanks for your donation, which is some really cool American coins, which we're going to put into some sort of raffle or giveaway to try and raise a few more quid for my cause, for my ultra marathon. So massive thanks, Keith. Hope you got on well, my friend. That's it from me. Don't forget the LP code, as always, in the description and coming up next. Thanks again, as always, for your support, and I'll see you very soon.